It started as a whisper, a faint murmur in the dead of night, too soft to be words, too real to be imagined. Richard stirred in his sleep, eyes fluttering open, only to see nothing but the dim glow of the streetlight filtering through his window. It was probably just the old pipes in his apartment building settling, he told himself. He turned over, pulled the blanket up to his chin, and tried to ignore the growing chill in the air. But the whispering returned the next night, and the night after that. At first, it was subtle, like the distant rustling of fabric or a breath exhaled too close to his ear. But then, on the fourth night, Richard heard something distinct. His name, Richard. It was barely above a whisper, but it sent a bolt of ice through his veins. He sat up, his breath caught in his throat, scanning the room for the source of the sound. Nothing. His door was locked, his windows shut, his closet closed. And yet, he felt watched. His heartbeat thundered in his ears as he reached for his phone, using its dim screen to cast light into the room. That's when he saw it, a shadowy figure standing in the corner of his bedroom, tall, motionless, draped in a long black coat, and worst of all, his face was covered by a smooth, expressionless velvet mask. Richard's breath hitched. His mind screamed at him to move, to get up and run, but his body was frozen in place. The masked man didn't move. He just watched, and then in the blink of an eye, he was gone. The next morning, Richard tried to convince himself it was just a nightmare, a trick of the mind, sleep paralysis. But deep down, he knew better, because when he checked his bedroom door, it was unlocked, and when he walked into the kitchen, he found something on the counter that made his stomach drop, a single black velvet glove. His hands trembled as he picked it up. It was cold to the touch, almost damp, as if it had been resting in the dark for centuries. By now, he was certain. This wasn't a dream, and whatever had entered his room last night was real. Richard spent the rest of the day researching. He combed through horror forums, paranormal threads, urban legends, anything that might explain who or what he had seen. And then, he found it, a discussion thread titled, "The Man in the Velvet Mask, Have You Seen Him?" His heart pounded as he clicked on it. The post described encounters eerily similar to his own, a tall, silent figure, always standing in the shadows of bedrooms, always watching. The poster described waking up to find objects moved, doors unlocked, and an overwhelming sense of dread. Some claimed he was a spirit, a demon, an omen of death. But one comment stood out from the rest. If you see him more than once, he won't stop coming. Don't let him take off the mask. Richard's breath hitched as he reread the words. The man in the velvet mask wasn't just an urban legend. He was real, and he had chosen him. As he dug deeper, Richard stumbled upon another terrifying discovery. The people who had seen the masked man all disappeared, not immediately, not overnight, but eventually. One woman in New Orleans documented her encounters in a journal. Her final entry read, "I saw him again last night. He was standing closer. I think he knows I'm afraid. I'm leaving tomorrow. I have to get away before it's too late." She was never seen again. A man in London had posted about him in an online blog, detailing how the masked figure kept returning, standing closer each time. His final post was chilling. He was right next to my bed. He leaned down. I heard him breathe. I think tonight is the night. That was the last time anyone heard from him. Richard's stomach churned. This wasn't a haunting. This was a curse, and now it was his turn. That night, he set up cameras. If the masked man came again, he would have proof. He would see what it was, where it went, and how it moved. He left the lights on, armed himself with a knife, and waited. At exactly 3:12 a.m., the temperature in the room dropped. The shadows in the corner of the room began to twist, stretching unnaturally. And then he was there, the man in the velvet mask. This time, he wasn't just watching. He stepped forward. Richard's breath caught in his throat. His body felt weighted, trapped in an invisible force. The masked figure tilted his head, as if observing Richard's fear, drinking it in like a predator savoring its prey. Then he raised his hands, and he reached for the mask. The footage recovered from Richard's camera was distorted and broken, as if something had interfered with the signal. But in the final, clear frame, before the static took over, the masked man could be seen standing over Richard, his fingers gripping the edges of the velvet mask, the moment before he pulled it off. Then, blackness. Richard was never seen again. His apartment was locked from the inside, his belongings left untouched. The only thing left behind was the velvet mask resting on his pillow. No one knows what happens to those who see the man in the velvet mask. Some believe he is a harbinger of death. Others say he is a collector of souls. But there's one thing that remains the same in every story. If you wake up in the middle of the night and see him standing at the foot of your bed, do not look at him. Do not speak to him. And whatever you do, never let him take off the mask.